Hey YouTube, where you been? It's been a while. Sorry I haven't been on much. Been trying to figure things out and just get into the groove of putting out some videos. But anyways, this morning, Saturday morning, I had to go to work. And of course, that's an ungodly task on its own. So I said, you know what? If I'm going to go to work, I'm going to take my Chevelle. Make it fun. Make it worthwhile. So 5 miles into the trip, it was still dark outside because of daylight savings time here in Texas. So 5 miles into the trip, I look down at my speedometer. All my gauges are, all the lights are out. I'm like, crap. I don't know what happened. I don't know if all the lights, if my park lights, if everything else is out. I'm waiting to get pulled over. So it was barely twilight, sunlight was barely starting to come up. Shut my lights off. I'll make it look intentional. So I get to my work, and I said, let's check the fuses. So I checked the glass fuses, and sure enough, the interior lamp's glass fuse is blown. Now I'm thinking either there's a short, or it's just a glass fuse that broke due to vibration, due to the age. I mean, it's a 50-year-old car. So I know we don't have any glass fuses in stock, and I don't have any spares, so I figured out a way around it. By this time, if you guys haven't figured out, I'm an electrical guy. I can figure out all kinds of stuff, electrical circuits or wiring, or there's all kinds of stuff that I can do as far as electrical. And let's take a look at what I did. I have this fuse block. To be honest, I don't even know where this block came from. But it seems like extremely similar to my Chevelle. And if you look down here, here's your interior lamps. This is the blown fuse that came off of the Chevelle. So what I did is I rigged up a fuse holder. I made my own little fuse holder. I left the ends bare. And what happens is the ends are going to slip in here. You try your best to keep them separate from each other. That way you don't cause a short circuit. And then when you lay the fuse in there, you jam it in there. You still have a fuse circuit. Something like that comes in handy in a situation to where you don't have access to glass fuses, but you don't want to do the old school trick and just put a piece of foil in it. So to do this, all I did was grab a small piece of wire, cut it in half to equal lengths. You can use whatever gauge wire you want. Of course, if it's a larger fuse, then you're going to need a heavier gauge wire. This fuse is only a 4 amp fuse, so I figured I could get away with a really small wire like this. You strip maybe a little over 1/4 inch. Here, just for demonstration purposes, let me show you the fuse with little terminals. These are GM Delphi style terminals. And they have little ends right here where you would crimp the wire on there. You could actually come back and solder it if you like. So since this wire is so small, what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll fold the copper in half. I'll double it to make a thicker end. I'll do that on one side to both of them. Shove it into the terminal. The first crimp is for the copper, the second crimp is for the insulation, just for it to hang on. So these are the crimping pliers that I'm going to use. These are Packard Electrical Division. They're basically GM Special Tools. Lay it in here like that. You lay it in the first section where the copper wire goes. Crimp it. Then you use a larger crimp for the insulation portion. You got the two of them set like that. And what you do is you grab a shrink tube. Just like the name implies, it's a tubing that shrinks. You could use electrical tape. Use anything. Basically what you're trying to do is keep the two terminals from touching each other. If they touch each other, you're bypassing the fuse. If there's a short, you're asking for trouble. So what I'll do is I'll shove the fuse in there and make sure the shrink tube is all the way up, as far up as it'll go. I'll take a butane torch. Do the other side. So there you go, you have an emergency inline fuse ready to go. Like I said, you just shove it right here behind the glass fuse. Use the glass fuse to push it in. If you don't want to use the mini fuse type, you can always use the regular style fuse. You just need to have a different terminal, the wider terminal. And it doesn't even have to be a Delphi style terminal, because then you'll need special crimping pliers. You could just use regular crimp style terminals that you would get at any auto parts store, and they'll work the same way. In fact, if they're insulated, you don't even need the shrink tubing. We've all heard the horror stories of somebody saying that a plume of smoke just came out from under the dash. He parked, and next thing you know, the whole car was in flames. That is what can happen when you just bypass the fuse directly, or do like I said, just put a piece of foil against the fuse, which is in essence bypassing the fuse. Show you the outside of the car real quick. I pressure washed the outside and knocked off a bunch of soot and grime all over the body. Of course, it's still rusted, but looks a whole lot brighter now. It's just amazing how that stuff sticks to the body. It's like I couldn't tell from looking at it. I thought it was just faded paint, but the car almost looked gray whenever I started washing it off. Let me show you what it looks like at the car. see the little 4 amp fuse tied in with the glass fuse. The glass fuse is actually holding it in. So that'll get you down the road with the circuit still working, but it's still safely fused. Like I said, this isn't a permanent repair, but in a situation to where you don't have access to glass fuses, or you don't know if it's a constant short, you don't want to be blowing through all these glass fuses, these other regular fuses are much more readily available. A little fuse holder like that will save you some time and frustration. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.